And that is because Imperial Morocco is here. It has gone nowhere. The popes simply moved it with the stroke of a pen and the words from their mouths. And all of a sudden, there was no more Morocco. It became the state of Ohio, officially in 1957. All of the machinations hadn't been worked out before then. Imperial Morocco was conquered long before 1803, which is the year it came up for statehood. But because I guess the church hadn't quite worked out all the terms over in Barbara before they put Morocco over there, Ohio was still Morocco until 1957. And again, since I have not come across anything in my research as I researched the thrones of Morocco and Egypt, I have not found where either throne was abdicated nor abandoned. And being a prince of the line of Muhammad bin Abdullah Bey, also known as Uncle Sidi Bey Muhammad, I claim both thrones, the throne of Egypt and the throne of Morocco. Neither have been abandoned, reported abandoned or abdicated by any royal personage. Therefore, the thrones are simply dormant. They're simply dormant. And I claim both of them. And they are both right here. You see, one of the things, Your Highness, it wouldn't be so bad if you told the truth about how that sand pile you sit in over there in Barbara became Morocco. You're awfully negligent with that, aren't you? That you claim to be Moroccan. That is my heritage, not yours. You are a barbarian. That is your heritage. Because when the church, the United States, France, and England put you there, you were a protectorate. Under the French, weren't you? Weren't you? That's why you didn't really have to answer that question I asked in that preceding video about, the French just sailed up one day and decided to take your home and you stepped aside and let them. That's how the French forts got there. But we know that the French were there before you. That's how those forts got built. And then you came. And during the papal machinations employed, that piece of Barbara where you sit is now called Morocco because the church had plans all along about destroying Imperial Morocco. And it was the emperor who got us off the seas, who got the corsairs out of the waters, so that the church could continue sailing back to Rome with its loaded papal galleons, loaded so heavy she's way below the waterline. She's so fat with the treasures of Inca and Maya. It was the emperor who got us out of the waters so she could continue her plunder. And in the Treaty of Peace and Friendship of 1787, the reason all of that, all of those nautical terms are in that document is because we were still in the waters And what your history, what your twistery will not share with you ever, ever, was when George Washington got an entire regiment of his USMCs slaughtered by corsairs. You will never, ever read about that. But it happened. It happened. It sure did. Sure did. It was supposed to be some kind of half-ass revenge for what happened at Roanoke in the 1500s. What was it, 1503? They call it a mystery. Ain't no mystery. If it was a mystery before now, I'll clear it up for you. In 1503, an entire village of colonists just disappeared off the map down there in Roanoke. Well, it was just a great big mystery. And there was no sign of anybody, and it looked like they just left the meals and the dishes. Well, yeah, they kind of had to. Because you see, some corsairs coming through what's now called the St. Lawrence Seaway on their way out to the Atlantic so they could sail their way to the Mediterranean and meet some more of those French ships and Spanish ships and papal ships coming back from South America. Well, they needed slaves in the slave markets. They needed slaves in the slave markets. And I'm going to tell you what the slave markets were. The slave markets were in, they had a slave market. They had 2 slave markets in Tunis, which is now called Minnesota. They had 2 great slave markets there. And the people who were taken from Roanoke, they wound up at the slave market. That's what happened to them. Mystery solved. Mystery solved. They were taken as slaves. Now, this is what happened after the colonists disappeared from Roanoke. When the King of England learned of this, he sent a contractor to that same area right off the coast of Roanoke. And he sat right there. Now, the captain that he chose for this mission, well, he used to be a school teacher, but by the time he got over here to Roanoke, his name was Blackbeard the pirate. Now, Blackbeard did not become a criminal in the eyes of English law until while he was sitting there off the coast of Roanoke. While he was sitting there, we were coming back home. And when we went out, and we went out hunting, depending on what we expected, from what we'd hear from other Moors who were, they'd be coming and we'd be gone, we'd get reports. And if we were going to meet some heavy resistance, we took a lot of ships. But since Blackbeard only had 1 ship, we coming back home with about 20, 25 to 50 ships. He's not going to stick around to identify anybody. And so Blackbeard, he weighed anchor, and he turned into the wind and sailed for home. The king was not really thrilled with Blackbeard's report. And because Blackbeard didn't stay there and waste his men, ship, and crew trying to beat back, 30, 40, 50 ships of corsairs with Asiatics on it who are watching their land be slowly encroached upon, and they know it's about to be taken from them, Blackbeard didn't stick around. And because he didn't, that is when Blackbeard the pirate became an enemy of the state. That's why he was a sought-after pirate by the British Admiralty. because he didn't stay there and waste the lives of his men and waste his ship. Nobody's going to stand there and try to fight 50 Corsairs. They got, oh my God, they got brigantines with 100 cannons on them. Oh my God, they got brigantines. They got little, I guess they be equal to destroyers. And there ain't nothing you can do. Ain't nothing you can do. You one lone pirate ship. You got 5 cannons port and 5 cannons starboard. There's nothing you can do. You get out of there. That's what you do. And that's what Blackbeard did. However, Your Highness, I would really like for you to get back to me with the answer, because I've just shown you where you are now, what it looked like in 1527. I did not see a Morocco there. I didn't. And so I'd really like for you to explain to the Moroccans here, the true descendants. And besides, the word Moor, Your Highness, comes from one word. The word is Moroccan. That is where the word Moor comes from. I'll ask you again. Do you and your people in your kingdom, do you refer to each other as Moors? Because if you don't, there's no mystery to me as to why you do not. Because you know you're not Moors. You are not Moroccans. You are not Moroccans. And it was that agent provocateur which got me, which put you in my attention. Because obviously your people do not know who they are. They actually think they are Moroccans. I mean, to the point where the Moors of Adelphi, they fly Old Glory, and the people from your land get upset because they think they're Moroccan. If they do not refer to each other as Moor, there ain't no way in hell they could ever be Moroccan. The word Moor comes from Moroccan. And we are all born here in Al Morocco. We are all born here. We are born Moors. You see, because you wear Moroccan like a label. As well you should, because it was given to you and your land was created. So Moroccan is a label to you. Well, you need to stop using it because you are making a mockery of the word Moroccan. And it's a good thing you don't refer to each other as Moors, because you would be taking the lie too goddamn far to refer to yourselves as Moor. I never saw you in any of the places here in Moorish America I've ever been. I've never seen you. We do have the same familial blood, which is why I am wondering why you are tempting the great and merciful Allah by continuing to do what you are doing. You are misleading your people, which, as a head of state, that is regal fraud. You are doing pretty much the same thing King John did by accepting Stephen Langton as the Archbishop of Canterbury. You're doing the same thing King John did. You are accepting of what the church gives to you for fear of what the church will do to you. And as a king, your fear factor should be much higher than that. You are the so-called leader of a people. You are the so-called leader of the people. And how can you, as the head of that group of people, because I can't call you a nation because you are not a nation of Moors. Therefore, I can't call you a nation because I don't know what the hell you are. And how do you expect for me to know what you are when you don't know what the hell you are? You call yourselves Moroccan, and you know goddamn well Morocco is here. I have mustered up as much respect as I can for you, Your Highness. Because to me, what is at stake is far more important than how you perceive any goddamn thing in this video. Because you want to take away my children's heritage. I have grandchildren. And I'm not going to stand by and let you do that. Not going to do that. Because you are not Moroccan. And you need to put your people on a campaign to find out who the hell they truly are. What nerve. Getting mad at Moors because Moors want to fly their flag. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. You contact that agent provocateur who was all too ready to explain how the Moroccans were upset. For the sake of diplomacy, I will not respond the way my feelings are suggesting. And I want my brothers and sisters to know, as well as my nieces and nephews, being more and being Moroccans, for my nieces and nephews, you are Moroccans because you have lived your life on Moroccan soil and you have become amalgamated by the earth. As you know, it is impossible to live around a people and not take on some of their character traits and ways. It is inevitable. It goes to true earth science and the influence that the earth has on the human body. It's very simple stuff. However, King Muhammad VI is the barbarian. And he should let the entire world know that he is the king of a slice of Barbara. And if you do not tell your people who they are, I will. I will tell them here. I will tell them now. You people are not Moroccans. You are barbarians from Barbara. That is who you are. Now, for any of you barbarians who can prove to me that you are Moroccan in any way, shape, or form, I will yield. I will yield. Just show me on a map. I'll tell you which map it was so you can get a copy. Get it from some library or some record hall. It is Robert Thornton's map of the world, 1527. That's the map. Now, when you get that map, Your Highness, show me where Morocco is in Barbara. Show me where it is. And then trace your bloodline back to Morocco and have it end up there. Have it end up there where you are now. That is why, to me, it is immaterial who preceded you as royalty there in Barbara. Because what I know is he goddamn sure wasn't no king of Morocco here. Because Morocco here did not have kings. Morocco here had emperors. And again, Your Highness, you're going to need to explain to me how Morocco went from an empire to a kingdom. What year was that done? By whose authority and by whose acquiescence was this decision rendered? I would ask you some questions that one royal person would ask to another, but since this is a rather public forum, I will save it for when we meet. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. One royal person should never ask this in the company or in the province of those who are not of the same ilk. So I won't ask it here, but I will ask it when we meet. So this is simply a helpful video to you. Start teaching your people who they are. Because as you can see, as a king, as a leader of a nation of people, you are woefully lacking in your duties, Your Highness. You are woefully lacking. How are you going to be the king of a people who don't know who the hell they are? What are you the king of? Now, I've shown you your home. And when we meet, I will show you my ancestral home. Now, what I'm going to do, Your Highness, is I'm going to help you out. I'm going to give you a real story lesson. You won't be the only one who picks this up. Those who think they know, they will learn something too. They will learn this as well. Egypt, the land of Egypt. It came to be the land of Egypt later than anyone thinks it did. It became Egypt later than anyone thinks it did. An age or so ago, down in what is now referred to as South America, during the age of Pangea, when the earth was still one gigantic landmass. Well, while the Hammatites were still traveling from West Africa into Northwest Africa and Southwest Africa, that's what they did. Well, this one Hammatite, he landed in what later came to be known as Heru, because that was his name. He was named after him. And he built a kingdom. And he was called King Heru. And the place he occupied was called Heru. Today, Heru is called Peru. So, King Heru, nice wife, little family going on. Well, he was a beneficent king. People loved him. His kingdom grew and it prospered. His wife got pregnant. And the baby was going to come to term, and they thought everything was great. Thought everything was great. Because King Heru, he had plans when his baby girl hit the scene. He was going to rename the entire of Heru after her, after his baby girl. That's what he was going to do. He was going to name the entire kingdom after her. Well, the baby was stillborn. And King Heru, his heart was just broken. He was devastated. He could no longer stay there. And so he and his people, they sojourned to the north and the east. And they settled in what is now known as Illinois, but back then, it was called a different land. All right, fast forward through the years and the dynasties, etc. Came another little baby girl. Her name was Netta. She was Queen Netta of oh my goodness, what is one of the names of Egypt? Anyone, pick one. Anyway, Kemet. Let's just say Kemet for the sake of this real story. She was the queen of Kemet, and she is the one who remembered her stillborn ancestor, King Heru's baby's name. Her name was going to be Egypt. And it was Queen Netta who named Egypt after her stillborn ancestor, who she didn't even know. But she remembered. And it was through oral tradition that her people live on. And she remembered hearing about her great aunt Egypt, who was stillborn, and she renamed Kemet. Netta was about the only ruler of Egypt who was not so egotistical that she named the city and province after herself. That was selfless. She named the entire land after her stillborn descendant. That is what you do when you care about blood. And Your Highness, it's all in the blood. I offer to you to take a blood test with me. If your bloodline traces you all the way back to this side of the ocean, then I will call you brother. If, however, I am Hebrew, Moabite, Canaanite, and I'm sure that you, as perhaps a Tawny Moor or Berber, perhaps. Brother Leader Muammar Gaddafi, he was a Berber Moor. And if you are Tawny Moor or one of the others, I'm going to know that too, because of the blood. Because of the blood. And so, I will say again, Your Highness, backwards through the ages, masterminds can trace themselves, and thus they know. I can trace myself all the way back to Grandpa Lot, which is why I am truly interested to see how far your bloodline goes back to the first king of Morocco, where you sit today in Barbara. See, these are things I am interested in, because I am most interested in preserving my heritage, which you so foolishly give no thought to about taking. I just have a bit of an issue with that, because you know you are not Moroccan. You know you're not Moroccan. Tell the world, because I'm going to. I am going to. You will not take my heritage. But again, simply an invitation, Your Highness. And I actually bid you peace. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Peace and love, everybody.